Hello and welcome to the next of our sports science resources. This one is going to be on performance nutrition, so how to eat properly for performance. And I think this is probably the most underrated aspect of performance. A lot of people know they have to eat properly, but don't exactly know how. There's a lot of misguided information online and kind of floating around. So my goal of this presentation is to make it super simple for you to be able to eat what you need to be able to perform at your best. So without further ado, let's get into it. What I hope that you will learn if I do my job correctly. We're not going to be memorizing any numbers. Whenever I have nutrition presentation and the nutritionist would say, oh, you need to eat 2 grams of carbohydrates for every pound of body weight you have on the sunniest day of the month. Just random stats that no one's going to remember. So my goal is to really focus on building good habits. So I want to build through these kind of key principles. So utilizing protein for muscle growth and recovery, probably the most important aspect of nutrition. We're going to hop into that first. Eating carbohydrates. So protein is for muscle growth and recovery. Carbohydrates is how you get your energy. So it's what's more commonly thought of for food. And then we're going to talk about fruits and vegetables. So everyone's told fruits and vegetables are good for you, but I was never explained to it why they're good for me. So I just didn't eat them. That's just kind of how I operated. So we're going to go into why they actually matter. And then we're going to try and build on how to create sustainable eating patterns. Because if you do it for a day or two or a week, nothing's going to happen. You have to consistently do the right things, just like training, just like mindset, recovery, everything else. It's about consistency. So I'm not trying to give you a band-aid fix for your nutrition for a day or two. I'm trying to give you what you need to do long term to have the best chance of high performance. I put hydration into our sleep presentation. So if you're interested in hydration, check that one out. It just didn't fit with today's presentation. So starting off, we've got protein. It's everyone's favorite. Just a quick lay of the land. Your muscles are built out of protein, collagen. When you exercise, you're actually breaking them down. So exercise being resistance training, exercise being hockey or other sports. Your muscles break down. So to rebuild those muscles, you're going to need a lot of protein. So your muscles break down, your body says, that sucked. I don't want that to happen again. I need to build these up stronger. The problem is if you're not giving your body the correct nutrients to build up stronger, you're not going to get the bigger muscles. You're not going to get the strength gains that you're training for. So you need a lot of protein, and we're going to talk about how much, and it's a lot. Training in no protein, like I said, minimal change. You'll still get some strength benefit, but mostly be neurological rather than your actual muscles getting bigger and stronger. Training plus protein, sick gains. This is how you have to do it. You have to have the training, you have to have the protein. That's what's going to make you elite. So, where is protein? What is it? It's found in meat, a lot of dairy products, fish, some plant products like beans and soy have high amounts of protein. But kind of if you focus on it as your meats, eggs, things of that nature, that's where you're going to get most of your protein. So, how much protein? We're going to do a calculation. This is the only time I'm going to tell you specific numbers for any of this stuff. So, take note of how much. We're going to do a little calculation. First up, athletes need more protein than regular people. Athletes are constantly beating the heck out of your bodies. You're training, you're working out, you're doing all sorts of things that beat the body down. So, if somebody, just a non-athlete, is trying to tell you how much to eat, they're not on the same scale as you. You need a lot more protein to rebuild those muscles. So these numbers don't mean much for you right now. If I said athletes need 1.5 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight to gain muscle, great. What does that look like? No one knows. So we're gonna kind of break it down. So this is where I'd want you to pause after we kind of go through all this and do your own calculation. So you're gonna take your body weight in pounds, divide it by 2.2. That's just gonna give you your body weight in kilograms. All the numbers are ran through kilograms, so we want our weight in kilograms first. You're gonna take that number and we'll multiply it by 1.8. So that's kind of right in the middle of that range that we were given. So say I'm 70 kilograms, multiply what by 1.8. That's the amount of grams of protein that you have to eat every single day. So we're gonna break down and look at what that actually looks like. Um, this is going to be our example. So say you calculated that you need to eat 150 grams of protein every day to gain muscle. So that's going to be optimal muscle growth. You could still get some with less protein, but this is optimal. This is what we want every single day to get that 1% better. What does this look like? I asked AI and it came up with a day for 150 grams of protein. It's a lot. We'll run through it. And I want you to just kind of compare what you're currently doing to what this actually looks like. So breakfast, 2 scrambled eggs right away, cup of Greek yogurt, and a banana. Then we're not skipping to lunch. There's always in between meals, and that's going to be a key point that we're going to emphasize. Protein shake, boom, 25 grams of protein. Lunch, we're having a chicken breast, quinoa, and mixed vegetables. That's just the first half of the day. Next half, we've got our afternoon snack because we're always eating. That's the key. You always have to be eating if you're going to try and hit these goals. Cottage cheese and almonds. I don't know if that's a great meal, but AI must enjoy it. Dinner, we're having salmon, sweet potatoes, and broccoli. And then finally, we're having some more protein powder in the evening with our milk. So that's a lot. That is a crazy amount of food. Compare this to what you're eating right now. Maybe by lunch, you've had a bowl of Fruit Loops and a box of raisins. Maybe that's all you're getting. It's like 2 grams of protein. Whereas if we look at this stuff, it's wow, that's a lot. Now I don't want you to track every day because that's again not sustainable, but I want you to kind of look at what a day would look like for you. Ask AI if you want to, put in what you like and what you don't like, and it'll spit you out a day. Now, if you can make your days consistently look like that or somewhat like it, that's where we're going to have this sustainable success for your nutrition. So, strategies. Again, do the calculation, figure out what you need to eat. Learn what foods contain lots of protein. So, does chicken contain more than salmon? Does rice have anything? Do vegetables? What vegetables are high in protein? Figure out what foods contain lots of protein. Eat as many of those foods as possible. Again, just if you can just consistently eat throughout the day, it doesn't matter if it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just throughout the day, keep hammering your food. And yeah, eat multiple meals per day. And the last one's protein powder. So I get a lot of questions about protein powder. I think it's a great resource to include in your meals. It just makes it a lot easier to get, boom, 25, 30 grams of protein just in a protein shake and kind of in between meals rather than having to always prepare food. This is just an easy way to get it. So I'm personally a fan of it. You don't need it by any means, but I think it's a fair strategy to get the most out of it. So moving on, that's protein. Protein builds your muscles. Now, carbohydrates are what gives your muscles the energy to be able to produce force and do work throughout a match or a workout or a practice. So what are carbohydrates? Again, they give our bodies energy. They're found in a lot of grain products, so pasta, rice, bread, things of that nature, along with fruits and vegetables have a lot of carbohydrates. Now, here's the common question. My mom said carbohydrates make me fat. So they do. If you are going to eat pasta and pizza all day and you're only eating carbs and you're laying down and watching TV, yes, that's going to make you fat. That is how fat is produced. The thing with athletes, though, we're sometimes training 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week. You're consistently moving your body in training sessions and practice and games. you're burning all of those carbohydrates off. So as long as you are eating carbs that aren't junk food, if you're eating whole grain products, whole wheat products, you're going to be just fine. There's no concern of getting fat if you eat the right things and keep exercising. So we'll knock that one out of the way right away. So how many carbs do we need? There's no calculation for this one. I don't want any numbers for this. It's not as detailed as protein to get kind of optimal levels, and it varies a lot every day depending on what you're doing. So here's my general rule of thumb. If you need energy, if you have a game coming up, probably a good idea to eat carbs. Or if you just had a game or a practice or a lift, you should probably eat carbs because you just took all that energy that you had produced and gotten rid of it. So those are kind of the two types. Timing and type of carbohydrate are more important than the quantity. So when you're having it, what you're eating kind of 3 hours before the game, right before the game, during the game, after the game, that's a lot more important than how many you're having. And then the type as well, which we're going to jump into right here. So types of carbohydrates. First off, we've got and just bear with me. I know this is it's very boring slides, but there's a lot of information. If you can process this super early in your athletic career, you're going to be set up to go and really excel in the future. So just kind of bear with me as we go through these nitty-gritty slides. First type of carbs is just the simple carbs. That would be like, boom, sugar, candy, white bread, cookies, the things that give you a sugar high. So these can be used in the right context and be effective. There's a time when eating candy is going to be effective, and maybe you've already thought of why. But the simple carbs are a short-term energy source, so it'll give you just a little jolt of energy whenever you need. The problem with this is when there's a high, there's a crash as well. So you don't want to eat too many of these. They're very easily digested, so your body, you can eat them, boom, energy right away. The other type of carb is going to be our complex carbs. So these are going to be our long-term energy sources. So things like whole wheat pasta, whole wheat bread, brown rice, things of that nature that are going to give us consistent energy throughout the day, throughout competition. The only drawback to these is they take a while to digest. So if you were gonna run a sprint, it's probably not best to have a big pasta meal right before you do that. It might be good to have some sugar right before that, though. So it's all about when you're eating it. Nothing is bad, it's just bad context. So we're going to talk about exactly that. So when you're eating it. So 3 hours before a game, and again, a game can be practice, lift, a sprint session. Just we're going to use game for this. So 3+ hours before a game. So say you have a 7 p.m. game, we're at 4 p.m. You're gonna have a big meal. So you're trying to build your base of energy right now. So that would be complex carbohydrates. So a good meal, whole grain pasta, chicken and veggies. You get some protein in there. You get your complex carbs and then some veggies to kind of spread that energy throughout, which we're going to talk about in a little bit with fruits and vegetables. 1 hour before a game. So we're starting to get down to it. We're kind of at 6 p.m. right now. You don't want to have another big meal because you're not going to be able to digest it in time. So we're going to have what I kind of call medium carbs. So like muffins, yogurt, things of that nature that aren't just straight up sugar, but they aren't a huge meal and tough to digest. During the game or even like right before the game, say you're playing hockey, it's the second intermission going into the third period. You're starting to feel your energy just kind of come down. If you have like this would be the time when if you had candy, boom, just pop a couple. Now everyone's gonna have candy on the bench, which I'm sure the coaches will love, but that's why you'll see athletes a lot of time have bananas, things of that nature that give you that quick burst of energy. So yeah, there you go. Sports drinks are also pretty good for that. We're going to talk about that in the hydration section. But yeah, after the game, so after the game, it doesn't matter how quick you have to digest the carbs because you have a long time. Unless you're in a tournament, you have a long time between games. So the goal of this is to replenish all the energy that you just lost or used, and repair the broken tissues. So we want carbs, complex carbs, and we want protein. Protein is also important for after exercise, just like we talked about earlier. So just running through carbs again before we move on to the last section of this nutrition presentation. So timing and type matter more than amount. Choose whole foods when you can. So when you eat white bread or white rice or pasta, they actually take the part of the grain out that's responsible for all the vitamins, nutrients, and the fiber. And the fiber is what gives you that the longer term energy. Eating good carbohydrates at the right time won't make you fat, so don't worry about getting fat by eating food. Eat the right things, eat your whole grain foods, and you'll be just fine. That's a common theme I get from athletes not wanting to be fat, which is good. But if you eat the right things at the right time, you will not get fat. And then finally, we've got our fruits and vegetables. So, I'm a very stubborn person, and when things aren't explained to me, I don't do them. So, I learned that protein would help me build my muscles back up. I learned that carbohydrates would give me energy. Great. What else do I need? Everyone said fruits and vegetables are good for you. That doesn't really matter to me as an athlete when I'm trying to shove food into my face. That's kind of the last thing I'm worried about. But as I got older, as I learned more about it, I started to understand why you'd want a bunch of these fruits and vegetables kind of with every single one of your meals. So we're gonna get right into that here. There's two main reasons. It's health and recovery. And I'd almost group performance in with health. And I'll kind of go through the reasons here first. So first up, our cells need vitamins and minerals to operate properly. So say to contract a muscle, you need a certain amount of vitamins and minerals. If you aren't getting them just by eating straight up meats and pasta every day, you're not going to have optimal contraction of muscles. Same with say like getting rid of waste. You need the correct vitamins and minerals for kind of all facets of your human body. So performance would be linked into that one. You also need it for immunity. So athletes are more prone to getting sick than other people because we're constantly just beating the heck out of our bodies. So you need the vitamins and minerals again to help combat that sickness. If you're ill or sick, you're not practicing or you're not playing at 100% or training at 100%. So we want to stay as healthy as we can for as long as we can. And then lastly, I touched on it before, but there's a lot of fiber in fruits and vegetables. And that's what's going to help you maintain consistent energy levels. It's what helps you not get too high or crash from sugar consumption. And then finally, recovery. So when you exercise, your muscles break down. That's inflammation happening. So your body's trying to send a bunch of nutrients to that muscle to build it back up. That's inflammation. Fruits and vegetables reduce the inflammation. It makes you less sore and it helps you recover faster. Now, we're going to talk about a lot in the recovery presentation. If you can recover faster, you're now giving yourself more opportunities to train or more opportunities to train at a higher level. So that recovery piece is super, super important. Again, we're going to talk about it in depth later on, but know that fruits and vegetables can help your health, performance, and recovery. Best strategy for getting enough of fruits and vegetables, every meal, just throw something in. If you're having chicken and rice, throw some broccoli on top. If you're having a protein shake, throw frozen berries in. That's just the easiest way to sustainably get enough. If you mix up the vegetables and fruit that you have and get a wide range of them, you're never gonna have to worry about not getting enough. So that's something that we just want to establish early on. So then you just never have to think about it again. Again, nutrition, you shouldn't be constantly thinking about it. You're way better off if you can create great habits. We're going to talk about just kind of on the final slide here, summarizing nutrition. So it's one of the biggest factors to your success as an athlete. Again, if you're training and not recovering, the training isn't working as well. If you're not giving yourself enough energy to train hard, you're not going to get as good. It's what fuels you and helps you recover. So carbs and protein respectively. You do it every single day. Everyone eats every single day. So it's best to get really good at it. That's the key. You're doing it every day. I want you to not think about it. I want you to get good at it early and create really good habits. That's all I have for you guys for nutrition. I'll see you in the next video.